Cinema has always been about escaping reality, but some films don't just escape, they obliterate it. Today we're diving into 10 surreal, underrated films that twist logic, bend time, and make you wonder if you accidentally inhaled paint fumes before pressing play. Forget your Marvels, forget your rom-coms. These are fever dreams, cult legends, and midnight movie masterpieces. So buckle up, because we're about to enter a dimension where logic doesn't apply, symbols rule the screen, and sanity, well, that gets left at the theater door. Kicking off the list at number 10 is The Last Movie, directed by Dennis Hopper. Now, this was Hopper's follow-up to Easy Rider, and Hollywood basically said, "Here, take all the money you want and make whatever you like." Bad idea for the studios, but a fascinating one for cinema history. Set in Peru, the film follows an American stuntman who stays behind after a Western is filmed there. Once the cameras leave, the local villagers start reenacting the movie themselves, but with real violence, real weapons, and real consequences. It's a surreal meta-commentary on cinema's impact, colonialism, and the blurred line between movies and reality. The structure is deliberately chaotic, almost like Hopper is editing while drunk on ayahuasca, but that chaos is the point. It's cinema turning the camera on itself. At number 9, we have Thundercrack. And let me warn you now, this film is not for the faint of heart, or for anyone watching with family around. It's a 3-hour black-and-white underground epic that's part haunted house movie, part explicit porno, and part surreal comedy. A group of strangers take shelter in a creepy old mansion during a storm, and from there, let's just say things get very weird. Think incest, talking animals, and sexual encounters with, objects. But beneath the outrageous content, Thundercrack captures something magical. The raw, no-holds-barred experimentation of the 70s underground film scene. It's transgressive, hilarious, and shocking in equal measure. You'll laugh, you'll cringe, and you'll probably ask yourself, why did I just watch that? Number 8 is Sweet Movie, directed by Dusan Makavejev. On the surface, this is a colorful, almost cartoonish film about two women going through bizarre adventures. One marries a millionaire made entirely of sugar, the other joins a bizarre commune. But underneath the silliness lies a sharp political satire about consumerism, capitalism, and the way our bodies are treated as commodities. Now, I won't lie, this film goes into some very extreme territory. Bodily fluids, food fetishes, controversial political imagery. It was banned in several countries and remains one of the most shocking surrealist films ever made. But if you look past the provocation, Sweet Movie is brilliant in how it uses absurdity to expose society's hypocrisies. It's like a candy-coated nightmare that leaves you with a stomach ache and an existential crisis. Number 7, Singapore Sling. This is one of the most twisted, disturbing, yet hypnotically surreal films on the list. Imagine a classic film noir detective, trench coat and all, following clues about a missing woman. But instead of a femme fatale, he ends up in a decaying mansion occupied by a mother and daughter who engage in roleplay, necrophilia, and sadomasochistic rituals. The film is shot in gorgeous black and white, with dialogue that mixes melodrama and madness. It's grotesque, it's uncomfortable, but it also feels like stepping into a perverse dream you can't wake up from. It's definitely not for everyone, but for fans of underground surreal cinema, Singapore Sling is a cult masterpiece, equal parts horrifying and strangely poetic. At number 6, we have Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. This Czech Gothic fantasy follows a young girl named Valerie as she experiences a strange, dreamlike journey into adolescence. There are vampires, corrupt priests, strange magical objects, and imagery that feels like it was pulled straight from a half-forgotten fairy tale. The film blurs the line between childhood innocence and adult desire in a way that's both unsettling and beautiful. Every frame looks like a surreal painting, filled with symbolism and hidden meaning. If Alice in Wonderland was directed by a surrealist poet who loved horror and mysticism, it would look a lot like Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. Number 5 is Arrebato, also known as Rapture. This Spanish cult gem is a haunting love letter and hate letter to cinema itself. It follows a struggling filmmaker who becomes obsessed with a mysterious acquaintance whose life is consumed by filming, literally. As the story unfolds, the camera takes on a vampiric presence, feeding on the lives of those who use it. The film is eerie, dreamlike, and filled with a sense of dread. It captures that addictive power of cinema, how it can give life meaning, but also drain it away. For years, this film was almost impossible to find, but it's since been rediscovered as one of Spain's greatest underground masterpieces. For number 4, we're going with Andrei Zulawski's On the Silver Globe. This one is pure madness. Imagine if someone tried to make the Polish version of 2001, A Space Odyssey, but with more screaming, more mythology, and more existential dread. The film was shot in the 70s, but banned by the Polish government, and parts of it were destroyed, so the version we have is incomplete, with surreal narration filling in the missing gaps. It's about astronauts who colonize another planet, only to repeat the same mistakes of humanity: power struggles, religion, war. The visuals are jaw-dropping, with alien landscapes filmed in Polish deserts and beaches. It's messy, it's unfinished, but it's also one of the most daring and surreal sci-fi films ever made. Number 3 is Jodorowsky's The Dance of Reality. While Jodorowsky is best known for his surreal classics El Topo and The Holy Mountain, this film is a much more personal work. It's an autobiographical retelling of his childhood in Chile, but filtered through surreal fantasy. His father is reimagined as a tyrannical figure, magical healers appear in the desert, and clowns and miracles mix with everyday life. What makes it special is its balance between surrealism and deep emotional honesty. It's colorful, strange, and whimsical, but at its heart it's a meditation on memory, trauma, and forgiveness. Jodorowsky proves that surrealism isn't just about shock. It can also be profoundly moving. Number 2. Werner Herzog's Even Dwarfs Started Small. This is Herzog at his most chaotic and anarchic. The film takes place in an institution populated entirely by little people who stage a rebellion. What follows is pure absurdist mayhem. Cars drive in endless circles, animals run wild, windows are smashed, and chickens commit cannibalism. There's no real narrative resolution. It's more like watching civilization collapse in miniature, presented with dark humor and shocking imagery. Herzog wanted to capture the madness lurking beneath order and authority, and he succeeded. It's disturbing, hilarious, and unforgettable, the kind of film that sticks in your head like a nightmare you can't quite explain. And finally, at number 1, the surreal masterpiece that started it all, El Topo. This is the film that turned midnight cinema into a movement. Alejandro Jodorowsky takes the Western genre and turns it into a psychedelic, spiritual odyssey. Our gunslinger hero goes through duels with mystical opponents, spiritual awakening, violent betrayal, and eventual rebirth. It's violent, symbolic, shocking, and deeply philosophical. Every scene is layered with imagery from religious allegories to Freudian undertones. John Lennon himself was so obsessed with the movie that he helped finance Jodorowsky's next project, The Holy Mountain. If you only watch one film from this list, make it El Topo. It's not just a surreal film, it's an initiation into the strange and sacred power of cinema. So there you have it, 10 surreal cult films that break the rules of storytelling, melt the borders of reality, and leave you either enlightened or extremely confused. These aren't just movies, they're experiences. They'll challenge your mind, test your patience, and maybe even expand your soul. Which of these have you seen? And which one are you daring enough to watch next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more trips into cinema's strangest corners, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next cinematic hallucination. Until then, keep questioning reality and remember, sometimes the weirdest films hold the deepest truths.